comprehensive report about payday lending in BC was there as well, also to talk about their fair and fast loan that's supposed to be like an alternative product to payday lending. We also, so that was, and then we also had like a bunch of our leaders obviously take part in the big meeting. It was great. We've held 2 actions on the issue in New Westminster and just recently in Vancouver, both getting press. The most recent one getting us some provincial press, which was important, both CTV and the province newspaper. In response to the action in New Westminster, the press was able to get a quote from the minister saying that they are looking at making some changes. They plan on having a report on, or hope to have a report on the minister's desk by the end of the year. So this is a campaign this is the provincial campaign that we think we can win before the election. Building off the momentum of the victories that you guys had in Ontario and what's happening in Alberta, and then like what's happening in the States. This is just an issue with momentum, and we have a meeting scheduled with a really high-ranking bureaucrat. Unfortunately, Marcos, I couldn't find the email that actually had his position title in it. I'm not sure if you remember what the position title is, but he's like a high-ranking bureaucrat in the ministry.
That may have been his title.
High-ranking bureaucrat. Yeah, well, that's, hey, it sounded fancy. It sounded fancy, and so we're looking forward to that. That's
maybe it was Keymaster.
Yeah.
Okay, that's going to be happening at the end of June. And our Surrey chapter is going to do another action on payday lending in July, calling on the city to take more action and call on the province. Whatever, we're doing another action in July. So that campaign is winnable. It's moving very well. We got some good engagement on it, new leaders on that, so that's exciting.
Entonces la segunda campaña que estamos trabajando en British Columbia, esta campaña que pensamos que realmente tenemos posibilidad de ganar, es la campaña acerca de los prestamientos predatorios.
Préstamos.
Los préstamos predatorios. Entonces lo que queremos ver es cambios varios cambios que enviaron nuestros miembros acerca de estos préstamos. Entonces hemos tenido un par de acciones, un par de acciones, una recepción a donde invitamos un montón de diferentes sindicatos que nos dieron un poco de plata para trabajar en esto, y también una reunión bastante grande con unos políticos para venir y participar en la reunión, y hemos tenido bastante recepción en los medios que están hablando un poco de eso. Y parece que el gobierno ha dicho que va a hacer algo acerca de este tema, y que van a tener un reporte al fin del año para el ministro. Y nosotros, nuestras ambiciones de tener una reunión con el ministro, nos han dado una reunión con el director ejecutivo de planificación del ministro. Entonces va a ser, esta reunión la vamos a tener el 29. He's the executive director of policy and planning.
Great.
So he's like he's right underneath in the chain of command, he's right underneath the deputy minister.
Great. Okay. All right. That's awesome. Thanks, Marcus, for looking that up. So locally, on our local chapters, we strategically have been. Housing is always a big issue for all of our people, right? And so we're working at the local level to build up our local chapters and then use the leadership and the campaigns to then move up to the provincial level when the time is right soon. In Surrey, Bill, our new organizer, has been organizing, as we all know, since January. He's been doing a great job kind of breathing life back into Surrey since he started working on a housing campaign out there. He's had 3 actions, all of them well attended, all of them getting some level of press, all of them using new leadership of new members that he's signed up, not relying on what was left of the bones of what was already there, which is really good. The campaign itself is going to, if we're going to get anything, it's going to be a while. Surrey is not the best situation as far as winning something. We don't have a award system. We don't really have a strong champion. We have some weak champions there. So, but the important part is Bill's doing great organizing there, and it's going to help us be able to move other campaigns. Burnaby is the highest profile. We have this. How about you just explain the Surrey?
I was going to say. Entonces tenemos, localmente estamos trabajando en varias cosas. En la ciudad de Surrey tenemos un nuevo organizador, Bill, que le está haciendo muy buen trabajo con muy nuevos líderes que ha podido registrar como miembros y que está cambiando todo está haciendo muy buen trabajo ahí, que tenemos unos problemas con el gobierno que está municipalmente ahí, porque no es un gobierno que nos va a ayudar mucho, pero realmente hemos podido aumentar el perfil de la organización en esa ciudad. Okay.
Okay. And then Burnaby is really the really hot local housing campaign, and really it makes no sense for me to describe it because it has been all Marcos working on that one, so I'm just going to toss that over to you if you don't mind.
Sure. Okay. So in Burnaby, yeah, it's been really great. Obviously, the Stop the Demo Evictions campaign has been a campaign that's been trying to end the policy of rezoning low-rise affordable rental housing to build high-rise condominiums. Burnaby City Council has been pretty hard-headed on this issue. We've been just hammering them really hard in the media. We created a report alongside with the Alliance Against Displacement, formerly the Social Housing Alliance, where we wrote up a report, it was a social impact study that kind of looked at the actual impact of the individuals living in those homes and how they were feeling, basically how the demo-eviction process affected them. And this study was a great report, and we put it out there as well. We had a big action. We presented it to the City Council. City Council is just, kind of trying to ignore the situation and saying that there's nothing they can do, but we know that there's plenty that they can do with stopping the rezonings. And then just most recently, a high-profile NDP candidate came out, or a high-profile NDP MLA housing critic came out to kind of chastise the Burnaby City Council for not doing enough about housing. And this council...
Is that rare for them to stick their beak in local politics?
And what's rarer is the fact that this council is Labor and
I was going to say, this is old.
So it was a big thing.
Shaming them.
And EB's like a rising star in the party, critic of everything.
So this is our boy. Yeah, Mr. Tall Bicycler.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
So it's been good, and we've certainly made this council look terrible. So we don't know what kind of things, exactly we're going to win from them, because they seem pretty set in their way. But let's see what we can do in the next few months, really.
Yeah, but the profile of this campaign is just through the roof. They're feeling the pressure, cracks in the NDPs happening. Yeah. It's been quite impressive just how everything's kind of come together.
Yeah, we've really been able to inflict some damage on that city council, as well as expose those cracks, which I think is super important.
You want to say a few words in Spanish about this?
Entonces, una de las campañas muy importantes que estamos trabajando en la ciudad de Burnaby, esta campaña para parar ¿cómo se dice? Evicciones cuando echan los desalojos de la gente que vive en un apartamento en una ciudad de Burnaby. Entonces, el problema ahí es que la ciudad está dejando que pase este proceso de gentrificación, a donde los condominios, la gente quiere the vocabulary is escaping me on this.
We're kicking their ass on housing in Burnaby.
Estamos realmente avanzando en nuestro programa acerca del alojamiento, y para salvar los pocos lugares que existen en la ciudad de Burnaby para la gente de menos recursos.
And so I know this has been like a long report, but this is the very last thing. Just I want to take it back to the provincial housing issue that we're trying to get ready for the provincial election. We're getting that stuff happening. We're going to figure things out in the summer. But there's one issue that I really like that I'm going to see if the members want to get on board with, and I just want to throw it out to you guys because in BC we have rent control, but the rent control is tied to the lease and not the unit. So when you that's what allows for rent evictions to happen, because if you leave the suite, then they're allowed to jack the rent up to whatever they want. Unlike in I guess Montreal and New York, where it's actually tied to the unit, so someone goes out and then the rent, it stays the same, right? Housing affordability in BC is a huge issue right now, and that's really we need to have a really strong demand on that, and we're not. I think that's kind of a campaign that might make sense, and that I would like for us to explore. So I just want to throw it out to you guys, so you guys know about it and get feedback. Not right now, but another time.
Entonces lo que está hablando Sky es que hay una oportunidad en este momento en British Columbia, un problema sumamente grave con el costo de las rentas para los apartamentos. Entonces lo que está proponiendo Sky y están proponiendo los miembros ahí en British Columbia es trabajarse una campaña provincial que realmente aseguraría que cuando la gente se va de un lugar, en este momento lo que vemos es que el dueño del lugar puede aumentar la renta a lo que quiera. Entonces lo que quisiéramos ver es que no puedan hacer eso y que realmente la renta se queda al mismo nivel.
Great. Yeah.
BC. All right, I think Toronto is west of Ottawa.
All right, okay. Get it over here, my man. Camera set. Smile. Okay.
John is de Toronto.
John from Toronto now. I'm the coast to coast man. Hope to someday. I'm joking. Go to Halifax. I'm joking. I never want to go to Halifax.
Winnipeg.
But maybe Winnipeg. I kind of am jealous about Winnipeg. Anyways, yeah. Here's the report. So the stats. You know. We have 106 new full members. We have 414 associate members, totaling $3,700. We've had 40 events and turned out 472 people. We have 59 press hits. And I think the big one, 110 Golden Eggs monthly recurring donors. That's the really huge. And in total, all internal revenue in cash is $37,000 so far this year, which we're stoked about. So I guess like.
Hold on. Spanish. Can I?
Oh yeah.
So, entonces en Toronto lo que han hecho es, para la estadística, 106 nuevos miembros completos, nuevos miembros con la membresía, 414 asociados, que significa unos $33,700, 40 eventos con 472 participantes y miembros, 59 veces mencionado en la prensa, y algo que parece sumamente bueno es estos 110 donaciones que son mensualmente, y están 110 diferentes personas que han hecho nuevo mención. Entonces, hasta este momento, since January, 37,000. En este momento, desde enero de este año, han levantado fondos de $37,000 en estos primeros 6 meses.
So,
could you add what your monthly dues is now?
the monthly dues is up around 25%. We're up to 60, just below 69.
Could you translate that?
Entonces, does that include donations?
That's donors and no, that's combined. Credit card, member donors. So that's our bank draft. I guess our member dues. Yeah. So the monthly recurring money that we have in from donors and from members recurring is like $69.50.
Entonces,
7,000, yeah.
Entonces aproximadamente $7,000 por mes tienen en membresía, en donaciones mensualmente que entra a la oficina.
If you take that out, last month we brought in $14,500 through the bank draft and through the canvas, the associate member dues, the real member dues, selling T-shirts, whatever.
Internal money.
Internal money.
Self-sufficiency money.
So that was our big goal, because we just got burned so badly on grants, and then led by Andrew, kind of talking me into saying that, let's go for broke.
Since we are broke.
Since we are broke. But we had a little bit of money in November last year, and instead of conserving it and hiring one organizer, we just hired a bunch of people on the canvas, led by Rory Ditchburn, a great new organizer, and Andrew to be able to pull it off. So it's been cool. And really, we've been, the member stats aren't as high as we wanted them to be, but I think that's a trade-off. And if you look over last year, they're on track or passing what we did last year. So go figure. Even though we're putting way less resources in, I think later on in the year we want to switch into figuring out how to have
associates.
What?
Not get associates.
Yeah, not get associated. Figure out the associate campus a bit more, because I'm questioning the value of the associate campus a little bit.
Let me explain that. Entonces lo que dice John es que lo que pasó el año pasado se quedaron sin plata, entonces se quedaron con más o menos cero, no tenían nada para poder progresar con el programa en Toronto. Entonces lo que hizo John es con lo poquito que tenía, con la sugerencia de Andrew, dijo, ¿por qué no hacemos un programa dedicado a las donaciones para incrementar nuestro programa de donaciones individuales? Y lo que han podido hacer es cambiar todo programa, y en los últimos 6 meses han podido completamente cambiar el programa y ahora tienen plata.
So go big, like grande, and then we're hoping to do that again. So it's cool. And the question, Scott's question around the associate campus, we had one event, Andrew, that turned out people from the campus.
There were 2 good events. One with like 20 members from the associate campus, and one with like 55.
Yeah, we auto-dialed it, and it had 55. And that was good, and that was when we had it. That was a scientific boom, had the meeting event, everything clicked in. But often with the associate campus, it's kind of like, well, we don't have an event, or we do an event, but it doesn't really fit in, or it's a chapter meeting, and then it doesn't really line in. But we have 2 days a week where we're doing the associate campus with the campus team that we have. Anyway, so if it's not bringing in full members and it's not bringing in turnout, why don't I just have those campusers getting golden eggs, because it's more value for our group. And to be honest, the campusers, for the most part, shocking me, don't like canvassing. It's all just a culture that Andrew's been able to create where people actually like fundraising, which was a big change for me.
Because they're not paid on commission.
No, $13 an hour. Good money.
That makes a difference. I mean,
yeah. Anyway, so that's been exciting, and we hope to keep on going. Staffing, so Andrew, we lost, Galen Bickford Gerwater, went to Nova Scotia and then left us. But then all in all, sometimes you win some, you lose some, but there's always silver linings and things. Andrew being able to step up, I think, has been, and there's just clear roles for Andrew to be able to be the lead organizer and step up. And we have an organizer, Rory Ditchburn, who's brought in himself 23 grand. So Rory just so far this year has brought in 23 grand. That's if you extrapolate out his bank draft and say that every bank draft is worth golden egg, which he's gotten a lot of, is worth 12 months, blah, blah, blah. But either way, he's bringing in real money. Peter Gaddy is another young organizer. Maimuna Hassan, we moved down to part-time, but she's still around. We have a office manager named Jenna Mural, who's great, who wants to come on full-time and figure out some hybrid organizing. Andrew hired her as a summer student last year, and then you guys had her on, she was door knocking, set full members, but then she likes the admin work. Anyway, so we're going to figure out something in the fall, but I think I kind of want to have a communications type person who can still organize and there's some hybrid thing I'm going to try and work out with her, which is exciting. And then we have last staff meeting, we had 11 people at the staff meeting, so we had a whole canvas team out, and they're all keen. And they are happy, and there's no questions. Everyone's asking the right questions at the staff meetings, and there's no nonsense, and people are arriving on time. It is a new day in Toronto.
So just summarize this in 2 or 3 sentences.
I'm sorry.
No, it's great.
Lo que dijo,
but I don't think it needs,
lo más importante que dijo John ahí es que lo que pudo hacer es, con Andrew pudieron cambiar en la oficina pudieron hacer una nueva cultura de este tipo de canvassing, fundraising, para poder salir a la calle y para poder ir a buscar recursos y fondos de la gente que antes no existía en Toronto, pero que ahora tienen este grupo de como 11 organizadores que todo lo que hacen es salen todos los días para buscar donaciones en las comunidades.
So on the leadership side, we've been working on just getting our board kind of in order. So we've been doing reorganizational drives, which have actually put in a lot more effort than we had planned, but in the end they pay off. So we have a new leader in East York. Andrew kind of helped develop that, get that together over the last couple of years. Alejandro Ruiz Vargas, who's a really dynamic leader who I have a lot of faith in as a leader, being loyal and works hard and has a head on her shoulders. Lori Simpson is the new chair of the Weston chapter, which is exciting that we have new blood there. Jane Finch, we have this new leader named we're having elections in this other chapter, Jane Finch, which is a popular neighborhood or a famous neighborhood in Toronto. And it looks like we're going to have a new chairperson there. So that's exciting. We have a board that exists along with Marva Burnett from Scarborough that's functional. It has members that have bought in and want to be there and actually deserve to be there because they've done work. So that's exciting. We're hoping we have a plan to go to Peel region, Brampton, by the end of summer, which I kind of just marked in my calendar on the airplane ride here that we're just going to do it no matter what. Even no matter what happens, no excuses, just go and do it. Enter the 905, which is exciting. We have some grants. We have some grants out there. Oh, I'm sorry.
Ya, entonces lo que está diciendo es, lo más importante que está diciendo ahí es que lo que están empezando a hacer es expandir los dirigentes en la organización, encontrando a nueva gente. Hay una mujer que es sumamente buena que se llama Alejandra Vargas y es una miembro espectacular, que es muy dinámica en términos de su habilidad de ser líder en la organización. Y en este momento lo que están haciendo en Toronto es tratando de expandir también las operaciones en otras comunidades para tener más organización y más comunidades que están trabajando en las...
Thank you, Marcos. Yeah, we have some grants that hopefully we get them. Media, I think a big turnaround in Toronto. Andrew can attest to this. It's just the turnaround of we've gotten a lot of media. So we've already gotten twice as many press hits as we did, more than twice, quite a bit more than twice as many press hits as we did all last year. All starting with the great press conference we did around the internet report launch, it's Judy Connected, which was just exceeded my expectations. Anyways, campaigns. I'll start off with predatory lending here locally. We've been working on a minimum distance separation campaign, which Marcos was doing, and Jill's doing something similar in Ottawa. That was great. We unanimously passed through City Hall, but then we had a meeting with the head of the policy department at the zoning bylaw, and the lawyer, they were so adamant that it violates every law on the books and it's so impossible for them to do it. So we're going to research that to see if that's true, but I'm suspecting there was no hint of a doubt that this isn't Burnaby, John. This isn't Burnaby. Burnaby's different, John. He's just over and over again. So we're going to see where that's at. The other fallback plan would be there'd be a licensing stuff, which Jill has been leading up in Ottawa immaculately, and our friends in Hamilton have done, and our council ally Nunziata wants to do so. But either way, the point of this was to build up awareness for the larger provincial campaigns and the federal campaign around fair banking. So who really gives a hoot whether or not they have a minimum distance law in the end, because the real thing is that they changed the Bank Act and do stuff.
Entonces, las campañas que están trabajando en Toronto, esta campaña acerca también de los préstamos usuarios.
Usureros.
Los préstamos usureros.
Como usura.
Exacto. Entonces, eso está trabajando en Toronto también sobre la misma cosa, sí. Municipalmente, para ver lo que pasa ahí, pero realmente es para crear un perfil para la campaña provincial y una campaña nacional.
So the next campaign, this has just been so great organizationally, it's around landlord licensing. So we've been working on this campaign for, as Marva says, and Natalie, our leaders say, 12 years. We've been working on it for 12 years, pushing it for 12 years. And we all thought this was like, I kind of thought this was going nowhere. 2 years ago, ended up we had won a major vote at City Hall, 33-6. Andrew led this up and did brilliant campaign work, mobilizing members from across the city to meet with as many city councilors. We had a coalition of right-wing councilors, the left-wing councilors, centrist councilors, really championed by this liberal centrist councilor Josh Matlow, who is just great. We had worked in there, had the meetings with the city, the city staff. So the head of MLS did this report out to City Hall, city councilors at the city council meeting.
Sports.
What?
MLS?
Municipal License and Standards.
Okay, thank you.
So then 2 hours, the head of MLS just fielded questions, and she really just sounded like an ACORN leader. She really just sounded like, it was sounding like I was talking to Sharon Shreve and Judy Duncan and Barbara Burnett, and that you guys were up there doing it. It was amazing. And then we the mayor was lobbying hard against it. The mayor ended up voting for it. This conservative mayor voted for it. The landlord lobby poured a bunch of money in at the end. It was a pitiful attempt to try and do their astroturfing. It wasn't even good astroturfing. They put their own name at the bottom saying, this campaign was brought to you by the landlords. We're concerned about raising... Give me a break. Anyways,
you should have at least friends of the landlord.
Yeah, you could have or you could have set up your own group. Like I don't know. Anyways, that was even helpful in my opinion. But again, yeah, Andrew and Natalie Hunt did our leader from Scarborough. One of our leaders from Scarborough just did heroic work, media. Anyways, we're really just establishing ourselves again as the freaking group around housing in Toronto and just reestablishing that fact beyond any freaking doubt. And we just heard yesterday, got a meeting with the mayor. We've never met with the mayor before. We're going to go meet with the mayor later in the summer, but still.
That's great.
Yeah. We think that now there's a consultation process. They're designing the landlord licensing program. And then there's going to be a final vote in the fall. We think politically we can use this consultation process to engage our members, do that strategically in the places where we need to, the wards where we need to go at, these councillors, talk about it all positively, but I think we got it. But as Andrew reminded me at the staff meeting, we might lose, so we've got to do the work. So it's really exciting. And at the city council meeting, it was just ACORN Festival. There was just speeches by city councilors at the city council about how great a work ACORN was doing. So that was awesome. The last thing I'll mention is we've been championing
Entonces una de las campañas que están trabajando mucho en Toronto es esta campaña para licenciar los dueños de los apartamentos, porque en este momento sin esa licencia dejan que se caigan, estos apartamentos se están destruyendo, porque los dueños no tienen que hacer nada para mantener los lugares. Entonces lo que han hecho en Toronto, los miembros han trabajado sobre esta campaña para asegurarse que la ciudad pase una ley que asegure que los dueños tienen que tener una licencia para poder ser dueños de estos lugares, y eso asegura que los lugares se van a mantener un poco mejor, y que pudieron hacer una campaña muy fuerte y que los miembros convencieron a la mayoría de los concejales, ¿cómo se dice? La gente que trabaja en
los regidores
la gente, sí, como el alcalde, y después están todos los regidores para votar en favor de esta ley. Entonces están en este lugar ahora donde realmente parece que va a pasar algo bueno, y recién ahora John dice que pudieron suceder a tener una reunión con el alcalde de Toronto, que es un conservador, pero es interesante que van a poder sentarse con él para hablar un poco sobre este tema.
Outstanding.
Andrew, any final, like you did all the... And again, Andrew, I really just kind of... I didn't lean back, but I was kind of leaning back. I was kind of...
Andrew fue una de las personas que hizo, una de las personas que dirigió esta campaña con los miembros.
Great work. Inclusionary zoning, we saw an opportunity that they were going to be passing inclusionary zoning laws in the province, so then we started fighting to get them to do it. They are doing it, and we're the group that we're the group that they talk to. So we were very much central to that, and I think that positions us well for a municipal campaign around inclusionary zoning in the city, and potentially in other cities in Ontario. So that was exciting. There was, we're at these consultation meetings, but they're giving the powers of the city inclusionary zoning powers, which is potentially really exciting for us to do something cool. To force developers to build affordable housing. Because they're rich and we need the housing.
Entonces otra campaña que están trabajando es la campaña sobre la inclusión de viviendas abordables.
He does it all.
Entonces en este momento están trabajando en esta campaña y son la gente en que la ciudad mira para trabajar y hablar con ellos acerca de esto, porque es una campaña importante. Y si lo ganan, significa que los nuevos condominios que van a crear tienen que tener un porcentaje que van a ser abordable para la gente de menos recursos.
And we're working on other campaigns, but they're all kind of like blah, 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 and not really well defined right now.
Y también hay otras campañas que están trabajando, pero por ahora esas son.
Wow.
Anyway. So we're at about 7 to 11, and we still have Ottawa, and obviously Peru actually has an outstanding report in PowerPoint of all things. So we got, ORPA represent, and then we have 2 reports from Honduras. So I know you're doing a million things, but if we can tighten down just a little bit, or we'll just go past noon. Either way, these are great reports.
I'll be quick.
Whatever.
My name's Jill.
Hi,
Jill de Ottawa.
Joe.
Our canvas and sales brought in $23,459 so far this year. We signed up over 2,000 provisional members. I don't know the exact number. Our associate member canvas is at 157, bringing in $1,814. We have 39 golden eggs. We're not quite where we want to be, but one of my staff, Caroline, who's in charge of fundraising, she's got a mission to break 10,000 on our bank draft with the golden eggs. So we hope to break that before the end of the year. We've turned out 1,108 people to 80 events, and we've signed up 147 new full members to the organization.
Ok, entonces en términos de donaciones y de ventas de cosas como los t-shirts y ese tipo de cosas, han podido levantar unos $23,450. En términos de miembros, 2,000 miembros provisionales, 157 miembros asociados que han dado $1,814, 39 contribuyentes mensuales, que son donaciones mensuales, y 80 events.
Yes.
Y 80 eventos con 1,108 miembros que han participado y 147 nuevos miembros completos.
We have 5 full-time staff, and we've really split things into different areas depending on the campaign work. We've got Sam, who's working on our expansion project. So we're now organizing in the suburbs of Ottawa so that we can have the capacity to win more seats before the next municipal election in 2018. We've got somebody dedicated to the tax site and fundraising. Our tax site's brought in, we've done over 1,000 taxes. And then also, we're still working in Gatineau, which is a city on the other side of the river in Quebec. And we just had a great security forum about carding and the cops carding our members and racially profiling our members. It's a hot issue. in Gatineau. And we're going to be, I think, putting a lot of pressure on the city to create a receipt program, like in Ontario. We had a big victory on our predatory lending campaign. We won a licensing program, and we're fighting for minimum distance bylaws. We're going to be going into our disability and social assistance campaign, changing gears, and fighting to help people keep their assets, such as savings that get depleted when you are signing up with these benefits, and then like raising the income threshold as well.
Que bien, rápidamente lo que han trabajado en Ottawa es expandir un poco con los programas y las diferentes comunidades donde están trabajando. Empezaron a trabajar en una comunidad de Gatineau que queda en la provincia de Quebec, pero está justito enfrente de Ottawa, y que han trabajado en esta campaña sobre una campaña que realmente mira a los policías que paran a muchos de los miembros y gente de menos recursos para pararle, para pedir la identificación. Entonces han tenido una grande reunión acerca de esto, y la próxima cosa en que están trabajando es ganar una campaña acerca de la licenciatura de los prestarios, usuarios, los usureros, y ahora están trabajando una campaña acerca de los tiburones, exactamente. Y están trabajando en una campaña acerca de la asistencia social, donde están trabajando para hacer unos cambios acerca de los fondos que la gente tiene y que no le pueden sacar esos fondos si están en la asistencia social.
And just 3 things moving forward. We have 4 summer students, which is super awesome. And one of them's working on a fundraiser we're doing called Art in the Park, where we're engaging local artists to register and feature their artwork. It's something wild, but we'll see. It should be good. And one of our staff, Ashley Rhines, she's great. She's spearheading our Healthy Homes campaign, and we're focusing on landlord licensing, much like Toronto. We have a big tenant summit, which is really exciting, coming up in July. And we're going to do an action on a bad landlord and a city councillor. One of the unions is going to pay for a bus. It's going to be awesome. And the last, I guess, like little thing, our administration and coordination of a lot of our data and everything at the office is really due to our administrator, Maya McDonald, who's awesome. I hope that she's sticking around. She gets into our master's program because it's great. We've started to streamline a lot of our communications and getting a lot of things in French and English, so it's really good. That's it.
Great.
Una de las campañas que están trabajando ahora es una campaña acerca de vuelta de la vivienda y de la licenciatura de los dueños de los apartamentos, y eso van a tener una gran reunión y una acción sobre un dueño de un apartamento y también sobre un regidor de la ciudad, y de ahí y ahora tienen este programa donde están haciendo este tipo con los estudiantes del verano que han venido a ayudar con los fondos y a encontrar maneras de hacer actividades para aumentar los fondos. Arte en el parque. ¿Qué están haciendo?
So needless to say, Canada leads the way for all of ACORN International. One question I've got. So, do we figure out a net on the canvas in Toronto?
A net? Oh,
like minus the wage.
Right.
we've been working on that, Wade, and we'll get back to you on that.
We require them at least to not cost us anything, so they have to at least break even on the costs, and then there's value in every single phone number they get from a donor, because we can call them in 3 months to get a larger donation or get them on the monthly.
Sure.
And then we value each gold, so each golden egg would be times. So if every dollar's worth 10, which is low
What
balling.
we always do.
But and that's low balling. So
But at least we think now, even without the full figures, that it's breaking even.
it more than breaks even in cash right now, and that's not then the value of the phone numbers, which we're finding is killer. Rory's kind of a star, but he's estimating like $75 an hour if he's on the phones with those numbers.
How many?
Which would only get better if we move from an associate Canva off of some of those 2 days.
Yes.
How many phone numbers do they get a day on average?
I'd say 4.
With the donation, right?
Right, yeah, I'm just, the secondary thing here.
Yeah.
Cool, that sounds awesome.
So 1 an hour.
Right.
Is it exportable?
We're hoping to dumb down the wrap or make the wrap a
More
way.
efficient, I think we say.
No, a way we want to be able to go to Brampton and do it, and then right now the bread and butter is to go to the Annex or go to Commercial Drive or be in the Glebe in Ottawa, right? But there's only so many neighborhoods where it's just you're full of progressive people,
Yeah.
right? So we need to figure out a way that, hey, do you like? We want to get internet for low-income children because we don't want we don't want low-income children asking to move into foster homes to have the internet. What do you think about that? Do you support that? Yeah. Then we could be able to do the Canvas like in a place like Brampton, which I think is the next challenge. How do you do it? Because we're finding that right now.
Burning through turf.
Yeah, we have in 6 months, half the year, we went through all the good turf.
All the traditional turf.
A lot of the good turf.
I know Judy has a question, but how big is the crew?
Probably we're having like around 4 part-timers a day. Some people have like health issues. I'm not an asshole to them if they need a day off.
Also, like fix that, huh?
And then they get hired on by John to do full-time work, so I lose them.
You're also the recruiting program. I got you. Okay, that's.
But
I'll get back to you with more questions.
We think we could go bigger. But
That's what I'm curious
yes.
about, because obviously this is phenomenal. You had a question?
I already asked it.
Oh, you already asked it? You might want to summarize, we were just talking about the details of the Canvas program that Andrew and John have developed in Toronto, and whether or not that may help Canada and potentially other areas as well, if it can be, if a replicable model could be created.
Entonces lo que estaba diciendo, lo que estaban hablando es acerca del programa de recibir esas donaciones de la gente y que el programa y cómo está funcionando en Canadá, y que si es posible replicar ese mismo programa en otras partes de Canadá y en otras partes del mundo, donde realmente podría ayudar a aumentar la habilidad de ser un poco más sostenible como organización.
So, do you want to do the PowerPoint next on Peru? Because that's sort of fancy.
Hagamos la presentación en Perú primero.
How are we going to do that? So here's what I would suggest. That I now have it. I'll put it so that this side of the table can see it, and then do you have it on this computer? Y'all can put it so that side of the and then, or if you can tell us what's on there and you can translate.
Entonces él va a mostrar ese lado y con esta computadora si no puede mostrar nosotros.
Okay, it'll take about 2 seconds to get all this together.
Bueno,
Es posible.
tiene la de ella ahí.
Porque ella también la tiene que ver, obviamente.
No, la tiene ahí,
Yo tengo
su equipo.
La tiene en tu equipo que.
Sí.
Sí.
Soy fancy.
Bueno, pues la presentación de la última sobreviviente
Un minuto.
de Sudamérica.
Muy fantastico.
Yeah.
So it's small team.
I was like, is
I
anyone
think
on?
Jill's in there.
Jill.
Oh, Jill's in it. I was like, who's not here?
Bueno, en nuestro trabajo.
Good thing she locked it.
¿Cómo se hace para.?
Ahí.
Andrew wants to get to know you better.
Primero.
Wow, you're a great cameraman. Very
Pinche
skilled.
encima, ¿no?
You want me to take care of it?
Please.
Okay.
Okay, so this is taking me a second. I don't know why.
Ajá. Ahí. Correcto. Luego lo va bajando.
Probably because
Why can't I remember how to do a slideshow on this?
Yeah, I'm trying
Here we go.
to, I've still got to get it to be full screened. Somehow, I have to first enable edit, okay. Now.
Go to. You know where to go?
No, I don't know shit.
It's slideshow right there.
I never do
And
this.
then there should be one that says from beginning at the far left.
From beginning.
No? What happens
Hold
is.
on a second.
They're kind of like Barbadians. They don't necessarily turn out and give a shit. Then it's just us canvassing for money in a low-income neighborhood. what's the point?
Cancel.
Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
Other than getting stats.
Okay, get ready.
From that 400.
Get ready.
Oh, oh.
Now, let me see. Oh, okay, yeah.
All right,
Perfecto.
Okay.
Okay, Orphan needs to introduce herself.
Bueno,
Introducirte primero.
And how many years has she been on?
¿Y cuánto año, verdad, de tu cuánto año y
Ocho?
No, ya más. Ya tenemos desde 2005, tenemos 11 años. Casi igual con Canadá.
11 years.
11 years, close to what Canada has.
Yeah, okay.
Sí,
Con
y-
Canadá.
igual, pues y yo digo que somos los sobrevivientes de Sudamérica y de ACORN Perú Órfano, porque soy en este momento la única organizadora, bueno, que estoy tratando de llevar todas las actividades y que ACORN no caiga, ¿no? No sé si crecimos o nos hemos quedado chicos, pero lo importante es de que ACORN, siento de que bueno, estamos como las alianzas, hemos crecido, ¿no? Porque internacionalmente se está viendo ACORN. Creo que han sido alianzas estratégicas que sin recursos podemos mantener y sostener el trabajo.
Bueno, entonces, so we're saying that this is, so that ACORN Peru is the last organization that's still standing in ACORN in South America, and she's been working to try to keep it going, and that she's not sure if the organization itself has grown or gotten smaller, but what she is sure of is that they've been able to create strategic alliances with organizations in order to increase the profile of the organization, both nationally and internationally.
Good.
Sí, bueno, las alianzas estratégicas y en especial con la FENTAT nos ha abierto las puertas con otras instituciones como Jesse, que no es la empresa del Instituto de Estudios Sindicales, después la ISP, la Internacional de Servicios Públicos, la CGTP, que es la Central de Trabajadores del Perú, y bueno, una serie de organizaciones que estamos participando en una alianza en defensa de los derechos de los trabajadores, en defensa de las empresas públicas de agua, la no privatización, que sigue siendo un tema muy fuerte y de mucho interés de la población y político, ¿no? Entonces, por ese lado nosotros hemos afianzado nuestro trabajo para seguir con presencia de ACORN. Y bueno, las reuniones son muy numerosas, las marchas son impactantes en toda la ciudad, bueno, salen como cada vez 150.000 personas, cada que nos movilizamos. Entonces, ya es una cuestión macro, ¿no? En cuanto a esto estamos trabajando sobre las modificaciones de las leyes, ¿no? Estamos levantando firmas para que se modifique la ley, ¿no? Y que consigamos por fin que el agua sea considerada en la Constitución Política como derecho humano. Y ese es el fuerte ahorita, tanto de las instituciones públicas como ACORN en esta alianza, ¿no?
Okay.
Entonces,
Un minuto. And so the campaigns, so they've been able to create a lot of strategic alliances with a lot of the unions and student groups and a lot of different organizations that have been working out there, and that a lot of the work that's been working on has been focused on the rights of the workers, as well as very important water campaigns and about the right to water. So they're still able to have really large meetings, and the actions that are held between all the groups turns out to be something like $150,000 or 150,000 people per march, working on issues around specifically around waters and workers' rights, and so it's clearly become something that's at the national level. There's been a lot of movement. And that the main thing that they've been working on now is changes to the laws to make sure that water is considered a human right in Peru, as this has sometimes become under attack due to a lot of privatization.
Marcus, if you look at the slide.
Which one?
Is it
People? Which
yeah, I'm on the second slide. Is that the right slide? So is she saying that we've been fighting the privatization for 10 years? In the red?
Tumbes 10 años privatizada.
Sí, Tumbes se privatizó en el 2005. Bueno, sin éxito, es una empresa que ahorita está cayendo y se ha demostrado a nivel nacional y mundial el fracaso de privatizar las empresas de agua, ¿no?
Entonces Tumbes es una organización.
Tumbes es un departamento, una región de Perú.
Okay.
¿Ya? El servicio de agua es deficiente, subió mucho de precio y no hay opción a reclamo porque dentro de los contratos de privatización solo es en favor de las empresas privatizadoras. Actualmente en todo Perú, o sea, las empresas están en cierta forma ya tercerizadas, o sea, sí, son servicios que dan el servicio, pero a su vez en esos contratos no hay, por ejemplo, si ellos no cumplen en dar el servicio de agua, no hay penalidad. O sea, estas empresas pueden hacer lo que le quieren con el servicio, no hay forma.
So what Tumbes 10 years privatized, what it means is Tumbes is a region of Peru that 10 years ago they privatized the water and it's become a kind of emblem of the disastrous privatization policies of water, as a lot of people are going without water in a lot of that region. And that at this moment across the country there's this sort of system of thirds or something where within the contracts even like the public water companies don't have to aren't forced to provide water to residents due to this sort of slow privatization policy that's happening throughout the country.
Bueno, toda esta alianza que se hizo más fuerte ha hecho un trabajo muy grande que andamos corriendo en diferentes actividades porque no solamente es el tema ya del agua, sino también salió lo del Tratado de Libre Comercio, lo del TISA, del TPP, y son temas que van de la mano y no puedo estar aislada, entonces también he tenido que ingresar en todo este tema, ¿no? Ahora nomás ya el 7 y 8 de julio va a estar Deborah James, ¿no? Ella es de Estados Unidos. Ella es de todo lo del tema de tratado de comercio a nivel mundial, ¿no? Y en Perú a este fin de este gobierno se han estado firmando tratados a espaldas del pueblo, digamos, ¿no? Entonces todo esto es un destape para que no se perjudique más a la nación, ¿no? Porque son más de 50 países que están en este Tratado de Libre Comercio y los más perjudicados son los países internos, no los de fuera, sino los internos. Entonces, 7 y 8 estamos viendo eso. Esto conllevó a que, como hemos estado en etapa de elecciones...
Déjame explicar un poco. And so what has happened is through the past years of working on this water campaign, on organizational water, what it really has led to is a lot of other campaigns that have been able to create a lot more solidarity on campaigns around issues that regard free trade and these type of things. And so right now they've been able to create this movement targeting the TPP. And on July 7th and 8th, somebody from Deborah James from the States is going. I'm not sure who that is, but ¿quién es Deborah James?
Deborah James es una representante de Estados Unidos sobre la OMC, algo así.
Organización Mundial del Comercio.
Sí.
La Nación Mundial.
Organización Mundial del Comercio.
Organización Mundial del Comercio, ella es la que hace todos los estudios, digamos, los estudios justos y convenientes para cada país, no porque sea de Estados Unidos está de acuerdo que sea partícipe de este tipo de...
So she works. So Deborah James coming to speak, and she's an analyst or somebody who studies the consequences of free trade and how they affect countries like Peru. So she's coming to speak about the consequences of Peru, and so they're organizing against the TPP in Peru.
Okay, doke. We're still on the second slide.
¿En qué estamos siguiendo en la segunda?
Sí, estamos en la primera, que todo esto ha conllevado, ¿no? TPP, TLC, no privatización del agua, y de esto se desprendió mucho trabajo, ¿no? Entonces estamos trabajando con organizaciones, con universidades. ¿Por qué? Porque ahora en Perú la prensa está dominando todo este tema sobre, por ejemplo, en lo que es la privatización del agua. Se está satanizando la empresa estatal de agua, sobre todo en Perú, que es Sedapal, que es la más representativa, en que dan un mal servicio. Pero quien está dando un mal servicio son los servicios. Entonces la gente está diciendo, bueno, Sedapal no da un buen servicio, entonces que lo privaticen. Pero en realidad solamente ellos son administradores que dentro de ese contrato no han puesto penalidades a estos servicios, ¿no? Entonces la prensa saca a nivel nacional, las empresas de agua pública dan mal servicio, pero quien controla el mal servicio son los privatizadores, ¿no?
So what's been happening is that there's been the media has been working hard against a lot of these groups because the media has been really focused on obviously serving the interests of the big businesses and the water privatization companies. And so what the media has been saying to push their agenda is that it's the public service, the public water services are the ones that have poor service and that they should privatize to make them better. However, what a lot of people don't know is that the people that are actually behind the service delivery are in fact the same companies that the media is saying is the public service from the government. Does that make sense?
Claro, toda esa información llega a la población porque hay un monopolio de la prensa, del comercio. A su vez son como 10 periódicos populares, ¿no? De bajo costo, que llegan, esa información llega, pero así como bombardean a la población y que no conoce, y entonces hay una reacción negativa frente a las empresas públicas, y hay que estar trabajando día a día eso, ¿no?
So the work that's being done constantly is against these against this monopoly of media interest that has really been focusing on pushing this agenda that, you know, public services are bad and aren't good for delivery of services, and that privatization is the way to go. And so a lot of people who have no idea buy into that, and then the work really focuses on trying to get people to recognize the reality of privatization.
¿Y cuál era el fondo, y cuál es el fondo? Es que este grupo económico de prensa, o sea, los dueños de la prensa, son los que quieren comprar las empresas de agua, privatizar, ¿no? So ellos serían los beneficiados.
So what they're discovering is that the people who actually are in control of the media are the ones who want to buy the water companies for privatization.
Entonces, bueno, en esta campaña se ha estado trabajando y coordinando con los políticos, firma de acuerdos para la no privatización del agua, y a su vez que ya se modifique, porque inclusive ya habían sacado una ley para privatizar. Entonces ahora estamos pidiendo que se modifique y que se vuelva a considerar, bueno, nunca ha estado en la Constitución como derecho humano, ¿no? Sino que ahora se considere como derecho, el agua como derecho humano. Entonces es un trabajo arduo que está recogiendo firmas y son miles las que necesitamos. Y en cada de estas movilizaciones estamos también recogiendo, ¿no? Así que esta alianza pues también me está costando poder